On today's show, completely random topics from a big stack of flashcards. You have submitted them. We will just read them cold and talk about it. Anything can happen right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT Karalis. Recap the madness every game, every practice. Primetime Depp and D White on the sideline. Raining Jays, how it started. Raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here in the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Your team is the Celtics, and I talk about them Monday through Friday on every podcast app, on YouTube. Get into the comment section. Share your thoughts there with me, John Karalis. I cover this team for Boston Sports Journal, and I've been doing this job for about 20 years now. I've written a couple of books about the team, so please check those out. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. You can make every moment more on FanDuel. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. A new thing on today's show. I went onto Twitter and Blue Sky and said, we're doing flashcards. If you're on YouTube, you can see this big pile. I'm playing like that whole sound. That's a big, massive pile of flashcards with topics. You submitted them. I don't know what they are. On Fridays during the off season, I'm bringing in Tom Westerholm. Tom, how are you doing, my friend?
Flashcard stack goes brah.
Tom Westerholm, you can find his work on boston.com. Yeah, man, this is just a new idea. We were talking after a podcast. Okay, just a little inside baseball. After the podcast, we do probably a much better podcast that is no way could possibly air on this network. So, but one of the things we talked about is just we should just do random topics. And Flashcard Friday was born random subjects. So this stack and I'm just shuffling them. So I have a slight advantage because I've read all of the topics to write them down on these cards.
Yeah.
But this is just me shuffling, and I have no idea. Some are fun, some are serious. The only thing is, if we get too many silly ones in a row, I will move past them. But we're just going to pick them and talk about them until the podcast is over.
Out of curiosity, what would you say the ratio of you've written them down? What would you say the ratio of serious to not serious?
I think it's like 65-35, 70-30, somewhere in that range. So we get a fair amount of random ones.
Yeah.
Fair amount of Simpsons.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have been shuffling this all night. Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
Topic number 1. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. This is a serious one. How does an NBA coach become an elite playoff coach? This is a good one. How does an NBA coach become an elite playoff coach? We're watching Rick Carlisle do this, but we're watching Mark Daigneault try to become that and sort of become that. We're seeing Joe Mazzulla's kind of evolution. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
I think experience is a big part of becoming an elite playoff coach, because the adjustments in the playoffs have to be a willingness to do something out of the box.
Yeah.
And I think the trust in your team to be like, hey, you know what? We're going to try something different. And I think Joe has that, but also the experience of being like, oh, I've seen this before. Here's what we're going to do, because I've seen this. We've tried this. We're going to do this. So yeah. I think Joe has some elements of this, but no matter how our opinion of him, I think a good NBA coach, a great regular season coach, becoming that elite has to involve some of those elements.
Yeah. I think there's another thing too, though, that I think is kind of, it's an odd sort of dichotomy here, where you've got, you have to be an NBA coach, you have to have this incredible level of self-belief, right? To be able to to have this belief in your own ideas that you're going to go tell a bunch of professional basketball players what to do.
Right.
You have to have a huge level of that, but you also have to have this other yin and yang side of humility, to where you can't, you have to be flexible. You can't just have this is my system. And also you have to have okay, take Eric Spoelstra, right? he comes up, and one of the things that he has this group of players with the Heat, where, I mean, you have to be like very confident, but you also have to have that humility of like, okay, I'm also, when I need to, I can kind of take that step back and let them guide things. And I think that's one of the things where we see with Joe Mazzulla, right? Where he's the man has metaphors for days, loves to
Yeah,
talk,
sure.
all this stuff. But then loves it, and he's like certainly not afraid to tell people what he thinks. But he also
Sure.
has this like, no, but like my players are great. My players do everything. Like, he's got this system that's kind of like driven by the players making reads and all this stuff. So I think it's this odd combination, this balancing act of supreme self-belief to know, hey, I think my ideas are good. I think my ideas are good enough to tell NBA players what to do, but also like I also recognize my place in all this, and I am good with my place in all this, and I trust the players here to take care of business the way they need to.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you also have to have a good staff, because
Yeah,
you
100%.
have to have an open mind to, if somebody sees something, to process that real quick. You have to have a very quick processing, and you have to do that
Yeah.
anyway, no matter what, for everybody in the league. And this is one of the things that's impressed me the most about everybody. It's the ability to process things quickly. Okay, this is what's happening. Oh, this person's subbing in. We got to do this. And understand, if we do this, then they'll do this, and then we do this. It is chess. It is thinking 3, 4, 5 moves ahead. You got to be good at that.
Yeah.
Elite playoff coaches, I think when you say humility is right on point, because you have to understand, okay, I have made this adjustment. Oh crap, it's not working, because everybody does things that this didn't work. Like for me, Flashcard Friday, if it doesn't work, then I have to be like, okay, I got to ditch it.
Yeah.
And you have to have the humility to be like, I think this is a decent idea. Let's go with it. Let's see how it goes. If people hate it, if it sucks, if the podcasts aren't good, we're going to be like, all right, pull the plug. So it exists in life. Everybody can probably think of an example right now, like, oh yeah, I remember when I did this and I got to pull the plug on that. It's especially true in these situations where it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter how you win these games.
Yeah.
You just got to win. And so this willingness to say, all right, we're going to do something we haven't tried. Okay. Can we do this? Because I feel like, I don't know, full court zone press would work. Have we done full court zone press ever? No, but you're NBA players. You've played full court zone press before.
Yeah.
Does everybody understand what a 1-2-2 zone press is? Yeah. Okay. So let's try it for 3 possessions and see if we can't mess these people up.
Yeah.
Right. So I remember, it's so funny. I remember Sue Bird in a WNBA kind of all-star game was saying, okay, well, let's just do a screen the screener. And it was like, oh, yeah, and they just out of nowhere just run a screen the screener play on and out of bounds. And it's like, okay, yeah, I got it. Boom. And everybody, no one practiced this, but boom, you did it. And for some reason that mic'd up segment clicked and just stuck in my head, because everybody understands these are the generic concepts. If you can do this stuff out of nowhere, if somebody can be like, if Jayson Tatum can be like, hey, you know what? I'm seeing them play this kind of defense. I remember at Duke, we did this. Do you want to try that? Sure. Boom. Done. Yeah. Those types of things. Being an elite playoff coach doesn't necessarily mean having all the answers. It means being open to all the answers.
Yeah. And to your point, I think the processing speed that comes with like the ability to make that quick decision of like, okay, this is working, this isn't working, but it might if we stick with it, or this isn't working and I need to scrap it. Like those are all very different decisions that you got to make very, very quickly. And I think that's especially where the experience comes in with the playoffs, right? It's like that processing comes with time and with like, just experience. So yeah. Are you muted?
I got muted. Okay.
Okay.
Well, here we go. Sorry, but you know what? We're going to roll on. We're going to cheat a little bit here. We're going to move on to the next topic. I'll pull the card now, and then we'll talk about when we come back. Oh, more coaching. Interesting. Joe Mazzulla with a less than elite roster. We'll talk about that when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by Olipop. If you notice, I'm just sipping on this Olipop crisp apple, which is very good. I'm not even joking. This isn't part of the ad. This stuff is really good. It's made for people who love the classic taste of soda, but want something that supports their health. It says right here, supports digestive health with prebiotics, botanicals, and plant fiber. With just 2.2 to 5 grams of sugar, 9 grams of prebiotic fiber in every can, Olipop is reimagining soda in a way that's better for your gut. Now, they sent me some of this stuff, and I'm kind of hooked on it already. It's a new kind of soda. This crisp apple really tastes like an apple cider, and it's only got 50 calories. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but this actually probably would make a good mixer with something. This is amazing. Traditional sodas are loaded with sugar, like 39 grams in a regular Coke, 44 grams in an orange Fanta. Olipop flips that script with just a fraction of the sugar, no artificial sweeteners, gut-friendly ingredients, and a blend to support digestive health and overall health. It's a soda that tastes like the real thing, but actually does something good for your body. I get the classic cola. They sent the root beer, which is really good. Grape soda, really good stuff. So I would go check it out. And you can get a free can. You go to the store, buy 2 cans of Olipop. They'll reimburse you for one. Head over to Drink Olipop, OLIPOP, Drink Olipop /LockedOnNBA to claim your free can and find Olipop near you. That's drinkolipop.com /LockedOnNBA. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA Game Night. Jake Madison and I have already recorded our show previewing Game 4 of the NBA Finals. So that's live. When you're done with this show, go listen to that show. We broke down everything, whether the Thunder are shook by the moment in the finals, what can they do to free up SGA, the Pacers' depth, all of that stuff. It's on the Locked On NBA Game Night podcast. So go check that out wherever you found this one. All right, Tom Westerholm. The second card here is Joe Mazzulla with a less than elite roster, which means the roster in like a season or two.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting. I think the first thing that pops into my head when we talk about that is I don't think it can be as make the read and react kind of thing. I think it's going to involve more set plays. It's going to involve a little bit more. If you're relying on Jayson Tatum, like it's just going to rely on a little bit more from your star, but it's going to be more scripted, I think might be the best way to put it.
Yeah. Or at very least have like more things that you can kind of go to and hammer at, right? Like more like less free flowing and more like, okay, like, I don't know, 30 times a game we run this
Sure.
type of set, and like it takes advantage of something. Yeah. When you were after you threw that, I was looking at like some kind of like middle of the pack rosters, and I looked at like Atlanta, right? And I was trying to think like, okay, what would he do with Atlanta? And I think so much of it would just be based around like, okay, how do we maximize Trae Young, right? Because that's like I think that he's big on, he's big on maximizing guys. I think in a way, I mean, like most coaches are, right? But I think he would just kind of keep pushing that button as much as he can, because killer whale, it's like, okay, so where can he create a killer whale, right? If he doesn't have a roster full, of just orcas all over the place, like where can he find one that can do some of that? I think we would get a fair amount of that from him.
Yeah. There's not many orcas here, so
yeah.
Right. I think it would be just an emphasis on how, right, when you maximize other guys, I think you'd see, well, first of all, players who are not as good as the guys that you have right now. think Jaylen Brown not here anymore, some other guys not here anymore. Guys that you can just give the ball to and be like, well, he's going to make a move, right? The reality is in the NBA, every coach has to live with a little bit of, okay, well, this is an elite player. He thinks he can do this. And you know what? A lot of the times he can make this play, pull this play out of nowhere. And that means also sometimes that he's going to not make that play, but you got to let him do it. When you don't have as talented a roster, there's less of that, which means you hammer home things like you have to cut. You have to cut whenever there's a baseline drive, somebody needs to be diving from the top. And it's not just spacing. When somebody drives from the top, somebody's going to do the baseline cut. We have to crash. We have to focus on these principles. I think that's the team that maybe the focus turns a little more heavily on the defense, and it's about forcing the turnovers. I think, and Joe has said over the past 2 seasons, we want to force more turnovers, but with the team that he has, forcing the misses and, challenging, he's got a bunch of guys who can challenge, and I think, rebound fairly well for the most part. It didn't happen in the Knicks series, but I think with a less talented roster, it just becomes, hey, sometimes you got to take some more chances, and we just have to work harder. We just have to, you can push lesser players to work harder, which is weird to say, because the better players can just like pick their spots in some instances. So I think that type of, just a little more collegey.
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting because I think what we're seeing right now with the Pacers, right, is we're seeing a coach who gets the most out of his players and who now has talent to make a run like this, right? So like it's that nice combination. I think that would be the interesting thing to watch about a Mazzulla team with less talent is like I think he's still going to get a lot out of his players. I think he's a really good motivational coach who does a great job relating to his players and all that stuff. And then it would just kind of but also he's been playing the game. I think he would admit this, right? That he's been playing the game on easy mode a little bit. Like you got Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum. You got you got a crazy talented roster.
Of course.
And you're getting a lot out of these guys, and that's great, right? But like it will be interesting to see, like, okay, you get a lot out of your players, and there's so much value in that. Now, what kind of a system can you put together when you got to be a little bit more creative? I think that, it's a less ideal scenario than the one that he's been working with, but still interesting for sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's go to the next card. All right. Let's see. Okay. Giving the fouled team a choice. You've drawn a foul. Are you giving them the choice of free throws or taking the ball with a new clock? It's a new rule proposition. Your team, you have drawn a shooting foul. Do you want the free throws or the ball with a new clock? I like this rule because I think most teams would just take the free throws.
Yeah.
But it eliminates the Mitchell Robinson foul thing.
Yeah, it does. And I mean it and it would be useful down the stretch too, right? Like that's interesting.
I think you would have to have a different rule down the stretch because I think in the last 2 minutes it would have to be just fouls. If it's penalty free throws, it's just penalty free throws, and that's it. But during the course of a game, giving the team a choice, like if you have like a 60% free throw shooter, just be like, you know what, we're just gonna take the ball. We're gonna take the ball. And we're gonna run it again.
Yeah, and you can keep racking up the fouls, like
sure,
feel free. All right, now we're in the bonus.
Still counts.
Great. Yeah. No, I like that. I think that's a solid idea. I don't know that I have a lot to add to it, but I think it's.
I think that's an idea that could eliminate the hack kind of thing. All right, we'll come back.
I'm trying to think if there's a way to abuse it because somebody would figure out ways to abuse it.
Someone would figure out a way to abuse it. Well, I mean, the way to abuse it is, if they didn't have you couldn't do it when you're like, if you're up 3 and you like the foul which is a whole different discussion.
Yeah.
Fouling up 3. Like I understand people want to eliminate that, which is totally fine. But
I agree.
The abusing it would be like the team keeps fouling you, and you're like, no, I'm just going to keep taking it out of bounds, and that just extends the end of the game.
Or you just end up with like a 5 minute and 30-second long possession. Where
right. I don't know how. I mean, it's just somebody wants to hop in the comments and talk about how you abuse that. I think you would run into the potential of, 2 or 3 kind of possessions. You have the ball for a minute, but
yeah.
Hey, I still think that there's value to that.
I think that's one that you try out in the G League. You try a couple games of that in the G League, see how it looks. See if I mean, those G League coaches are super creative. They're all trying to make it. Like, so see how one of them tries to abuse it, and then see if it's fit for the big leagues.
I like that. Okay, we're gonna take a break. We'll come back with this new topic. What was Derrick White's loss of joy about? I don't know. I don't know how much time we can spend on that, but let's talk about it when we come back.
All right.
Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Did you know that on FanDuel right now, the Pacers are still not favored to win the NBA Finals? Thunder are still favored. So you can go ahead and get onto FanDuel if you're sitting there going like, what? Pacers are up 2-1. I like them. You can hop on right now, place $5 on that bet. If it wins, you can get $200 in bonus bets. FanDuel makes it super easy to stay in the game before the tip-off live. There are player props, performance trends, same game parlays. You have many more ways than ever to play smart and win big. So if you want to bet on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander bouncing back and having a big fourth quarter, you can do that in game if you kind of like the way the game is going. If you got a read on who's heating up, why not back it up with the same game parlay? $200 in bonus bets can add to that excitement if your first $5 bet hits. So check it out. If you're new to FanDuel, this is the perfect time to sign up. Go to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. When you sign up, when you log in, it's always going to ask you, set your limit, set your budget. Take advantage of that. The tool is there to help you so you don't get, start chasing the dragon. We've all been there. It's okay. Just set your limit, set your budget, make sure you're only betting where you can afford to lose. This way you're just having fun on FanDuel, which that's all we want to do. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA Big Board. It's got the whole league covered on draft night, the whole draft, every workout, everything. Rafael Barlow was awesome. So check him out after you do this podcast, after you do Locked On NBA Game Night, Locked On NBA Big Board with Rafael Barlow. Got the whole thing, got the whole draft covered. All right, Tom, what was Derrick White's loss of joy about?
This is like you got to want to be a little careful with this one because like loss of joy could also be about like personal stuff that we just like don't
very easily could be a personal matter, which we're not going to touch on.
No, definitely not. It's interesting though, because it's like, you felt it a little bit this year, right? Like even just from writing about the team, talking about the team, there were big stretches where I was just kind of like, not even stretches where they were playing poorly. There was a stretch where they were playing poorly. And that was also just like, okay, all right. But like, there were also stretches when they were okay that were like that too. So I don't know. I don't know that I have an answer other than just like there was a lot of basketball played over the last 2 years and a lot of it mattered more than a lot of other parts of it. And then when you play the parts that don't matter as much.
Yeah. I think I've always assumed that there was some level of a personal element to the loss of joy, which, could be anything, could be a health thing, could be, anything. So, I do want to say that there are elements of this that who knows, and it has passed. He found it again, but I do think that the Celtics, when you're this good for this long, and there's an expectation on you and all that stuff, and you're being pulled in a lot of different directions, I think there is a possibility of losing your joy for the game. It is a kid's game. It is supposed to be fun. And this, okay, I got to go do this ad. I got to do this. I got, the kids need this. My family needs this. And at the same time, I got to be at practice. These guys need blah, blah, blah. It can pull you in a lot of different directions. And it's like, yeah, you have obligations, but having everything, there's something to be said for being like the low key kind of sort of anonymous guy and then going to like everybody's darling player and everybody kind of wants a piece of you. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some element of that. All right, let's get back to the cards here. Ooh. Drew Holiday traded to OKC if they lose. Could OKC come calling for Drew Holiday?
Well, that would not help their future situation in which they are going to have to get rid of a lot of their own highly paid guys. Drew Holiday would be a nightmare on that team for sure.
It would be. I don't know. Like, let me see who on OKC just financially. I don't think that they have anybody that they have Hartenstein at 28.5. They have Caruso at 18, but if you have Caruso, you have Caruso. Like, you don't need Holiday if you've got Caruso. What's the point of trading for those guys?
Yeah.
Caruso's younger and he's cheaper and he's
a little better. Yeah.
At this point, well, yeah.
He's really good.
Lou Dort makes 17. Maybe Lou Dort.
I mean, if you can
17
swindle a Lou Dort out of a guy when they know you're giving him up anyway. That's
well, the Lou Dort, he's got a team option for 26, 27. I'm not saying this would work. This would happen. But if there is a Holiday, my inclination is to say no.
Yeah.
But I can also see a scenario where they say, oh, we don't want to pay Lou Dort. But then if you don't want to pay Lou Dort, why are you taking on $30 plus million of Drew Holiday?
For like a bit. Yeah.
I'm going to say
whoever submitted that, if you drop in the comments like what you were thinking, because I don't necessarily see it, but I do. But I will say I like Drew Holiday on the Thunder would be just a nightmare scenario. Like
it would be.
He would be a monster on that.
All right. I'm hoping this is a fun one to end on.
Yeah.
All right. One last pull. Here we go. Dream pairings with the Jays. I don't know about questions like this because your dream pairing, LeBron.
Well, all right. I got one. Here's okay. So if you're the Jays and there's like a genuine criticism that you could like one that like, it kind of nebulous. It's kind of proven sometimes, proven not other times. They can be a little loose with the ball under like really heavy pressure sometimes, right?
Yes.
How about a guy like here's a star player who really likes the Jays, right? Who has enjoyed his time playing with the Jays. And since we're dreaming, right? Donovan Mitchell. A guy who is unbelievably explosive, can super one-on-one guy, like another go
Clutch,
get a bucket guy,
quarter guy,
clutch kind of guy. So I'll say Donovan Mitchell also doubles as a guy who like I've been saying for like I mean obviously everybody always knew like Donovan Mitchell was really good, but like I've really been on the Donovan Mitchell train long before this year. So then I would get to have a nice victory lap and. Listeners of the show may know how much I like a good victory lap, so I'll say Donovan.
Sure. I'll go a different direction. I'll say Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Bam Adebayo, obviously big time defender, great pick and roll guy.
Yeah.
I think obviously. I mean, do I need to make the case for Bam Adebayo?
It's a good one. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just rolling down my list here to see.
Well, I mean, so I joked about this at the end of a recent episode, and just because like I had like a weird dream about it, but like Halliburton. Okay, like if you took Tatum off this team, like if you just said like Tyrese, like if for some reason this summer they really went down the rabbit hole and they were like, look, we don't know about this Tatum situation, we don't like it, we're moving on from. Halliburton's would be a really interesting guy on this squad because of all the, one thing, never turns it over, right? Again, like distributor, like very happy to be a distributor, big clutch shot guy. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton and Jaylen Brown would be a very fun pairing. So I'll, listen, we're dream pairings.
Sure. Okay. I'm trying to go down like more realistic.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like, well, no, I mean, we're talking about dream pairings. So, it's easy to put out like, oh, how about Victor Wembanyama? Like, it's easy to do that, So, these are always hard off the top of your head. I'm going down this list of players, and can they, like Dyson Daniels?
Yeah.
But he's kind of like the darling.
I mean, by that same token, right? Caruso would be.
Yeah, Caruso
really
would be.
I mean, really great addition.
Yeah, if they could pull Stephon Castle away from San Antonio in a deal. But I think just when you talk about you're either looking for a pick and roll partner, a guy who can shoot. You went Donovan Mitchell, who's basically like, okay, we're sick of you two guys in the clutch. We're going to get Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. It's so hard because I'm so stuck in realistic land. Like, what would be fun? Look, I'm going to say this name knowing that this is not popular, but I really wouldn't mind seeing what Draymond Green defensively could do to this team. And I'm not saying I'm advocating for Draymond Green. I know what comes with Draymond Green. I'm not pushing for it, but if we're looking at fantasy scenarios, I wouldn't mind seeing what Draymond as a defender and as a big who can facilitate the way he does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you could take the drama, the, a-hole, that all of that extra stuff that comes with Draymond away and just have that particular player without the extracurricular stuff, that I think would be a really interesting kind of pairing, just because for all of the stuff that makes you hate Draymond Green, what he does on the floor continues to be amazing. He is an elite defender, and his distribution and his ability to facilitate in the offense just is still incredible. So if you could put that other stuff aside, which understandably a lot of people can't, and oftentimes I can't either.
Yeah.
But as a player, man, I think that would be a lot of fun to watch.
I mean, listen, you said dream scenario, like Draymond without the drama is dreaming, but like,
yeah, right. Just hypnotize Draymond and be like,
you said dream scenario.
Person.
Yeah.
The joke answer would be a healthy Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, man, wouldn't you love to see that? Yeah.
Wouldn't you love to see a healthy Kristaps Porzingis in a dream scenario?
That's not really a joke. That's
that's serious. It's very serious.
Right answer.
Yeah. All right. I think first Flashcard Friday.
I'm in. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I liked it. And we went through, how many did we go through?
We
1, 2, 3, 4,
maybe.
5, 6.
Six
Topics.
What?
We didn't. I pulled that last one hoping it would be a silly one.
Yeah.
To end on, but that just means this is like I'm card counting. Like it just means there's a lot more silly ones for the next time. But look, I'll put out another tweet or another post on Blue Sky asking for more. But man, we still have this whole pile. So this pile alone, that's a lot. That's a lot of topics. That's going to get us through probably the whole summer, but we'll take more if you want.
Yeah.
We'll take more.
Absolutely.
Take more.
Yeah.
So thank you all for doing this. I thought this was a lot of fun. Tom, appreciate you hopping on, man. This was a good time.
Appreciate you, man.
I do appreciate everybody here submitting the questions, being here for the ride. This was a fun podcast. Let me know what you thought of the podcast in the comment section on YouTube. That's the place to give the immediate reaction. I liked it. I hope you liked it too. If you're new, subscribe, please become an everydayer. You everydayers are the best because you're still here with me. Monday through Friday. I know this is a tough time of year right now. You're expecting the Celtics to be in the finals, and they're not. But we're still plugging along 5 days a week, all through June, all through July. Scale down to 3 days a week, August, September, and then we're back to 5 days a week. So much more podcasting than everywhere you're going to get anywhere else. It's all free. So subscribe wherever you get your podcast, watch the show on YouTube, and share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.